Af- Good afternoon and welcome to our first Hawkeye Parents and Family webinar of the 2018-2019 academic year. Yeah, I said that right. My name is Lisa Kelly and I work in the Office of Academic Support and Retention and will be the moderator for today's webinar. If you're unfamiliar with our webinars, they're hosted on the first Friday of each month from noon to 1. We hope that each one provides you with up-to-date information that may apply to your students' transition here to the University of Iowa. We know that parent and family members play a vital role in student success, and we hope that these webinars provide a platform for us to provide you with resources that help you support your student in their success. If you can't attend every live webinar, we do record and post them later on our website and YouTube. For more information, please visit parents.uiowa.edu and click on the Resources tab. Each webinar has a presentation and then a question and answer portion, where you can get your questions answered by our campus experts. Today's webinar is Making the Big Move, Move In and On Iowa. We are very lucky to have two wonderful campus partners with us today. Greg Thompson is the Director for Residence Education, Housing, and Dining, and Tina Arthur is the Director of Orientation Services. Both will share information that will help you and your student in understanding the on-campus move-in process and the On Iowa Welcome Week, including the expectations for students and the expectations for parents and families. We'll start off with Greg and the move-in process.
Good afternoon, everyone. So glad you could join us. It's August. We're getting excited on campus for all the excitement that's about to happen. And I'm sure you and your students are feeling that same sense of excitement, maybe some anxiousness, maybe a little bit of stress. Maybe you're starting to feel a little sadness about dropping them off, or maybe you're just feeling jubilation at getting to drop them off as well, too. Any of those are natural feelings and emotions going into this time of year. Rest assured here on campus that we've been doing a lot of work to get prepared for you and your students to come back for what's sure to be an exciting academic year as well, too. We are going to go through a few slides about move-in here. One thing to note is we have a very specific process on how we move in here at the University of Iowa, and that's intentional because during the summertime and the process leading up to the start of the fall semester, there's typically a lot of construction in Iowa City on roads. This year is no exception, and a lot of activity during our move-in dates as well, too. So we do have a very specific process we ask you to follow, and that's to give you the best way to get to navigate to campus, to get your student dropped off successfully, and to have them get their best start in the residence halls as well, too. You can see on the slide that we have three primary move-in dates that have specific times that your student will be moving in. That's Tuesday, August 15th, Wednesday, August 16th, and Thursday, August 17th. Those are completely wrong because I'm reading the wrong slide. So the right dates are up on the screen here. That's the 14th, 15th, and 16th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Your student's been assigned a 1-hour time block on one of those specific days for their move-in. They'll be moving in with students that are on their residence hall floor, so roommates should be moving in potentially on the same day as well as other folks that are living on the floor. That assignment was mailed to your student at the email address that they have for the university. It's also accessible through their university housing account as well, too, the same place where they logged in to get their room assignment if your student perhaps has lost that or failed to let you know about that. The time blocks that we have will fall between 9 a.m. and noon or 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. You'll be assigned a 1-hour time. So, for example, you may be assigned 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We ask you to arrive to campus to move your student in during that 1-hour time block. The times, as I've said, have been determined by your room assignment, specific buildings, and specific floors. We do have some availability for you to change your move-in time. You can do that by logging into your housing account as well, too. Those times are limited, though, because we do control the number of students that are moving in during each hour to make sure you have enough time and parking space to unload your belongings. So let's talk a little bit about what this process will look like once you get to campus as well, too. In your assigned time to move in, you'll also find a link to some driving directions that have been sent to you. That's going to tell you the specific path we want you to follow to get into campus through Iowa City and or Coralville to get to your side of campus that helps minimize the amount of construction that you have to drive through. Again, we really ask that you follow those driving directions. That's going to give you the quickest path to campus, even though your Google or your Waze may tell you something else as well, too. Please follow those directions. When you come during your 1-hour time block, you're going to drive to your assigned residence hall, and that's where we're going to be unloading all of your belongings. On that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday dates, we will have a number of move-in volunteers ready to assist you. Basically, what's going to happen is you are going to pull up to your residence hall. Your student's going to be asked to go inside to the residence hall with their student ID to do the check-in and get their room key. Families or folks helping with the move-in will be asked to stay with your vehicle. At that point in time, our move-in volunteers are going to be bringing carts to your vehicle, helping you take the items for your student's room and put them in those carts and help to push those carts up to your student's room. We are going to ask that someone, a family member or someone that's helping move in, stay with the vehicle, because as soon as your vehicle is unloaded, we're going to be asking you to move it to a more permanent parking location while you complete the move-in process. You'll have a short window of time to unload right outside the residence hall, and then we'll point you in the direction of where you're going to be going. As I've said, you cannot park at the buildings during move-in due to the sheer volume of students we have coming in. Some of you will be asked to park out at the Hawk Lot. Some of you will be asked to park at Parkview Church. Some of you may have the option to park at Hancher Auditorium as well too. Please note we'll give you directions as to where you're going to go, and we do offer shuttles on the CAM bus or some personally driven vans to get you back to your residence hall to help your student unpack and unload. Some additional information about move-in, including some maps and some videos of the drive-in paths that you'll be taking to get to campus, if that helps you feel a little bit more comfortable on your driving path, can be found at our website at the link that you can see on the screen. So you may be thinking, hey, thousands of residents all in one day, maybe that's a little too much for move-in. I'd like to get my student in and settled, or maybe you're not able to make it on that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We do have an option for students to move in early. That date is Sunday, August 12th, and we have some similar shifts from 9 a.m. to noon and 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. that your student can move in early. You must sign up in advance to move in early, though. You can do that through that same link found in the email that has your move-in date and time. There is a $45 a day charge to move in early, and you'll be charged for Sunday night and Monday night if you move in on Sunday, so that total would come to $90 that will be billed to your students you bill. Check-in is very similar. It's at the individual residence hall. There'll be limited volunteers to assist you on Sunday. So we'll have some folks available to push carts, but we'll also have plenty of carts available for you to unload your own items as well too. One important thing is when students get here, they're going to be ready to eat. Our dining will be available for students who move in early, and we'll be sure that your student understands what the options are for that as well. Some tips to help you navigate this process. It can be a stressful day. We have done our best to make sure that it's nice and easy for you and that you have to do minimal lifting, and we give you plenty of cookies and water through the day to help you feel good as well too. One thing to know is you should be prepared for lots of traffic. It's a busy day as students continue to move in on campus, as well as the normal traffic patterns of folks living and working in Iowa City as well too. You'll see a lot of directional signs in town that'll help continue to point you in direction, and we do work with our university police force who will help to direct traffic and help you find a place to park as well. We ask that you minimize the number of vehicles you bring to campus. Because parking is extremely limited, we have only the ability to park a limited number of cars. So if you can fit everything into one vehicle, terrific. If you can stash a vehicle, if you've got a lot of helpers coming someplace else before you get to town, that's even better as well too. If you feel like you're loading up things and starting to prepare to move to campus and you find that you need a trailer or a moving van to bring all of your items, we ask that you do one more quick check to make sure you need all that stuff. But if you do, if you're moving in multiple folks, or that's the vehicle option that you have available, we're going to ask you to arrive after 5 p.m. on those move-in days where we'll have a little bit more flexibility to park your van or your trailer. If you do come after 5, you still go directly to the residence hall that you're going to check in at, and we'll find a space for you. Make sure you've got plenty of carts available to help you unload that. One reminder, and this is good for your students at any point in time as they're getting ready to come to campus, is that they should have their student ID on them. We're going to ask for that at check-in. And then just as a reminder, families, we're going to ask you to stay with the vehicle to move that quickly after we get the items out of there. Couple last move-in tips. We really recommend that you make some decisions on what to add to your room once you arrive to campus. Our rooms are pretty spacious. We have lovely lofted bed opportunities in the majority of our halls, and so you're going to have some options on things to have in your room. But getting a couple roommates into a room, it takes a little bit of time to figure out how you want to set that up. We have plenty of opportunities of places in town where you can get items to put within your residence halls, and you should be receiving information from some partners we work with as well too about futon purchases, linen purchases, and how to rent a micro chill unit for your room as well too. When your students check into the residence halls, they should be prepared to list an emergency contact on some information we're going to ask for them, and any important information about any allergies, medical conditions that we should be aware of as well too. It's important to note that beds are lofted in all of our residence halls when students arrive, with the exception of Mayflower Hall. Many students will choose to have their beds de-lofted to a lower level, or to be put into bunk bed positions as well too. If your student wants to do that, they have to complete a work order in conjunction with their roommates, and you should be prepared to know that sometimes that can take upwards of 2 to 3 days during the move-in process as our crews go about and move the beds around. And finally, just to let you know, we're here to help you have a successful and enjoyable time. Your students' experience starts when they move into the residence hall, is quickly followed by the On Iowa process. Your students' RA and many other staff will be available in the building and during the move-in process to answer any questions that you have. If something doesn't feel like it's going right or you need some assistance, please be sure to flag down one of our staff members during this time, and we'll be seeing you real soon.
All right, now we'll turn it over to Tina to talk about On Iowa.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tina Arthur, and I'm the Director of Orientation Services and the On Iowa program. On behalf of the university community, I want to welcome you to the Hawkeye family. We are very much looking forward to seeing all of you in the next few weeks. So what is the On Iowa program? Your students should have received a colorful trifold in the mail about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago with an overview of the program and the On Iowa website information. In addition, an email was sent to students at the end of last week. I want you to think of On Iowa as a second part to summer orientation. The big differences between summer orientation and the On Iowa program are that students are going to come to campus with their academic schedules in hand and actually move into their new dwelling either on or off campus, and then with their family members say goodbye and be at campus. As you can imagine, there are many emotions expressed during this time. Greg definitely touched on some of them. But through the On Iowa program, we focus on helping students connect with people, resources, and services so that they know how to succeed while they're here. On Iowa is a campus-wide effort to help your students start to build their sense of belonging within our campus community. If you attended summer orientation, you might remember the 5 gold banners in the front windows of the Iowa Memorial Union. These are the 5 components of the Iowa Challenge in which your student was introduced to during summer orientation and will hear more about throughout their undergraduate years. We encourage students to embrace the Iowa Challenge as a mission statement and focus on graduating the university as a well-rounded Hawkeye. More information about the Iowa Challenge can be found on our website, newstudents.uiowa.edu. In summary, the overall goal of the On Iowa program is to help new students become more comfortable with the university environment prior to the first day of classes. One of the best parts of participating in On Iowa is that all of the events and activities are free, so there are no costs associated with the program. Since we expect all members of the class of 2022 to attend the core elements on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they are already registered for the On Iowa experience. We know that transfer students are coming to campus with a skill set that they've developed at another institution, and therefore we've invited and highly encouraged transfer students to register by Tuesday, August 7th for a small group experience. This is a great way to meet other transfer students with similar experiences and to become familiar with the campus and resources. So first, we want your students to get settled into their new residence during move-in days. And then the next step is to ask your student if they have their Iowa One card, their official University of Iowa photo ID. Hopefully they do, because if they're checking into the residence hall, they would have already used it once. Most students usually get this during summer orientation, but if they're still missing it, they can head over to Jessup Hall between 8 and 5 to pick up their Iowa One card. So with their ID in hand, students should then go to the second floor ballroom in the Iowa Memorial Union to officially check into the On Iowa program. This process takes between 10 and 15 minutes. The important piece of checking into the On Iowa program is that your student will receive their personal itinerary, which is unique to each student. And they also get a lot of swag and other materials such as the class of 2022 or new transfer student t-shirt. Okay, so next I want to talk just a little bit about the core elements of the program in which we expect the class of 2022 to attend. The On Iowa small group time is led by an upper class student known as an On Iowa leader, and these leaders facilitate activities and help group members get to know each other, as well as give an overview of the On Iowa schedule. Small groups consist of about 28 students from the same residence hall area or off-campus neighborhood. And we place roommates together in groups, but not an entire residence hall floor. The idea behind the small group composition is to help students get to know each other within their own residential neighborhood. On Iowa leaders then guide their students through 3-session rotations on Friday. The rotations include 2 workshops focusing around components of the Iowa Challenge, Excel and Choose, and then we also feed them dinner. The Excel session is led by a distinguished faculty member in a large lecture hall. This will be the first time that many of our new students have to navigate a large lecture, and we want to make sure that they're feeling comfortable in a room with 300 to 800 new people. We would rather have them do that before they get into their classes than be surprised or overwhelmed that first day of class. Faculty members will engage students in a discussion about the differences between high school and college academics, academic resources on campus, and ideas on how to be a successful student at Iowa. The other session focuses around Choose. Students will talk about making healthy choices within their newfound independence and include a positive impact of bystander intervention. We also talk about our Hawks Help Hawks program. So a lot of good information in that small group on the first night. To conclude the expected core activities on Friday, all small groups head over to Kinnick Stadium to spend some time on the field. It's really the only time they can legally be on the field in Kinnick. They'll take their traditional Class I photo, learn about Iowa traditions and songs, and watch fireworks. It's a very spirited night for everyone involved, including the students who are not excited about athletics or attending sporting events. And it's a great way to start off the year. The core elements of Saturday occur in the late morning between 10:30 a.m. and noon. On Iowa, small groups meet again to talk about some of the elements surrounding the Iowa Challenge. So first, they'll recap the previous night's Excel session and set some academic goals and recap the Choose session. And then they'll talk a little bit about what are they good at as an individual and how to focus their interests and passions towards getting involved. This includes talking about the Clifton Strengths Assessment that they're taking as part of the online Success at Iowa course. In the afternoon, students are encouraged to engage and explore a variety of campus clubs, organizations, and programs between noon and 6. So if your student is interested in becoming a campus leader, volunteering, finding a spiritual group to be a part of, joining fraternity or sorority life, or even exploring gaming outlets or taking part on the stage with a performance club, Saturday afternoon is going to allow students to think about how they want to get involved with the university community. Sunday concludes the final core elements for the On Iowa program. We think of this day as President's Day, as the university president, Bruce Harold, and his wife Mary are very excited to welcome new students. Resident assistants will lead their residence hall communities to Convocation, which is held outside on the east side of the old Capitol. Convocation is a time when students officially commit to their academics and being a Hawkeye. Administrators and faculty members will be in attendance to lead this special ceremony. Following Convocation, President Harold will invite all students to the President's house for dinner. It's a festive event and a great way to relax prior to the beginning of classes on Monday. So what else? At this point, you might be thinking, well, that's great, but I'm dropping off my student on Tuesday, and so what are they going to do for those few days before all the events start on Friday? In short, we're going to be keeping them busy. As you notice on this slide, we've planned over 100 activities between Tuesday and Sunday. Anytime they're not expected to be at a core event, there is something else for them to pick and choose from. These activities are optional in nature and allow the students to really find what they're interested in. Activities range in a variety of formats, including informational, educational, and interactive. Some activities are in the morning, others go late into the evening, and when planning these activities, we try to plan for a diverse student body and a variety of needs and interests. You can check out the comprehensive schedule of activities on the On Iowa website. So, of course, being a research university, we conduct a lot of assessment to ensure that what we're doing is helpful and valuable to our students. I thought you might enjoy seeing the top ways students have shared that the On Iowa program has helped them to transition into the university community. As you read through these 7 bullets, I think one overall theme is the connection to other people and campus resources. This is a great quote. On Iowa helped me understand where things are around the campus, as well as the resources around the university that are available, that I have available to me. We get excited to see these kinds of comments because helping students connect to the university and the resources will help them be more resilient and successful throughout their time at Iowa. The On Iowa program strives to make the transition to Iowa as smooth as possible for students and families. Students report having connected with at least one person that they plan to keep in touch with, as well as learning academic strategies and how to get involved on campus. After participating in On Iowa, students feel ready to begin the first day of class. So please know that we recognize that this day that you bring your students to campus will probably be full of a variety of emotions, and the bullets on this slide show the general steps or routine that many families will go through on the day that you bring your student to campus. One thing to keep in mind is that you've done a wonderful job supporting your student over the past years to get to this step in life. We hope that you're proud of yourself and excited for them. Your student will have a great university support network to help them through their years at the university. Welcome to the Hawkeye family.
All right, thank you so much, Tina and Greg, for all this great information on Move-In and on Iowa, the students' first two real interactions here on campus. We'll now move into the question and answer portion of our webinar. Please remember that our presenters are unable to answer questions about specifics of your student's experience, but they can provide information that may be helpful in guiding your student. If you have a question, type it into the question box on the side. We'll then read the question so all participants can hear, and then our presenters will answer the question. If we're unable to get to your questions during the webinar, we'll follow up with you via email. So we'll just wait a second here to see if you've got any questions. I got one. So my students moving in early, is there any activities for like in the evenings and things besides dining for students who move in early?
Yeah, there'll be some limited activities based on individual buildings when students are coming in. The bulk of things will start, as Tina had said, on Tuesday night, but we will have some activities on both Sunday and Monday night in the residence halls for students that are moving in early.
Okay. My student is not a joiner, really. Are there small group or quieter activities during On Iowa, and will somebody encourage them to participate in activities?
So the On Iowa student leaders really spend a lot of time facilitating some get-to-know-me activities, even for the students who aren't joiners. There are a lot of introverts on campus who can still make some quality connections during the small group time and other events that are going on. So just encourage your student to show up to their small group, and we'll take care of the rest.
I would add, too, from the residence hall perspective, our resident assistant staff will be on the lookout for students that are maybe struggling a little bit with their transition pieces or making connections with students both through On Iowa and immediately afterward as well, too. So if your student's feeling that and they're reporting that to you, make sure that they go out and make connection with their RA as well, too, can help point them in a good direction.
Cool. My older student was in a living learning community, but my first year student is not. What's going to be different in their experience?
Sure. This year, students that living on campus will have a pretty similar shared experience regardless on whether they're living in a living learning community or not. Our residence education model will be implemented for all students living on campus. And that's going to be an experience where students will be having several kind of scripted conversations with their resident assistant, along with all the cool stuff about making connection with their community, their roommates, other students in the residence halls as well, too. So students that don't have a designated living learning community will still be getting a high quality experience in terms of helping them connect to campus and connect with individuals in their community. The living learning communities that we do have will have a little bit more scripted focus around an academic program or support piece.
Okay. Can I guess from the parents' perspective, can I attend kickoff at Kinnick?
Unfortunately, no. That's really an event for the incoming class. And so we invite the students to come in. They spend a lot of time on the field and learning traditions, but this is not an event open to the general public.
Should my student bring a bike to campus?
Lots of our students choose to bring a bike to campus. It's a pretty friendly campus for folks that ride bikes, as well as the Iowa City, Coralville, North Liberty area. Lots of bike trails, lots of areas to use a bike as well, too. Outside of the residence halls, we have plenty of bike storage facilities outside of lots of the classrooms on campus, bike areas as well, too. So bikes, you'll see a lot of them on campus. It's a great way for students to choose to get around as well, too.
My students in Mayflower, and we've been told it's good and fine, and they're going to be feel included, but I'm still worried. Any advice for telling them that it's okay to live kind of further away from campus?
Yeah, one of the nice things about Mayflower is that the CAM bus has really frequent routes out there. And so students that end up living in Mayflower have some trepidation about the distance from campus, but quickly find that the CAM bus system gets them to all parts of campus pretty quickly, more so than they were maybe expecting as well too. Mayflower is one of our more popular buildings that students choose to return to as well too, because of the setup of the suite style living out there. And so students, even though they have a little hesitation about getting out there, find that they build a great community. They get to live in a lot of situations with not just a roommate, but with a suite mate as well too. And there's a pretty specific set of programs and experiences for students that live at Mayflower to help connect them as well too. We have a great convenience store out there that provides not just kind of snack foods, but also some quick type meal options for students that maybe don't want to go into the other marketplaces for meals, and lots of other good opportunities for them to connect with the students in the building out there. So it ends up being a little bit of a quicker experience for students to get to campus than even they're expecting as well too.
Are pets allowed in the halls?
No, unless you have a fish. Only fish are allowed in the residence halls.
Okay. And let's see. Oh, do you have any advice on something that everyone brings but doesn't need? Like a thing that like most often you see like returning with the parents, I guess.
I think usually that typically ends up being some furniture items that maybe they determine they're not actually going to need. Most of our students, I think, once they get their bed lofted and their desks moved around, end up getting a futon that they will put in the room, and that usually they find is good for their seating needs. One thing that we actually see a lot of students choosing not to bring anymore are TVs, larger screen types of TVs. So many students are using their computers or their phones or other mobile devices to watch their entertainment, that large TVs have started to diminish. Lots of folks still bring them, but it's one of those items that seems to be getting a little less popular these days.
I wondered about that, yeah.
During On Iowa, there will be a tent sale on Hubbard Park right outside of the Iowa Memorial Union with Bed Bath & Beyond, as well as a Target takeover on Wednesday night. So if students need last minute things for their residence halls or wherever they're living, they can check out both of those events and pick up items for their dwellings.
Cool. All right, do we have any more questions? I'm looking in the chat just to see. Anything else? Oh, no, okay. All right, well, so that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you so much to Greg and Tina for joining us today. Remember that all webinars will be posted online at http://uciowa.edu/family-resources. Additional questions can be sent to uc-retention@uiowa.edu. And then you've got the parents.uiowa.edu website, which will also have a link to the webinars. And if you have a question, send it to the UC-retention email, and you'll get a response from a University of Iowa staff member. Please join us for next month's webinar, Handling Homesickness, Strategies for Success, on Friday, September 7th from noon to 1, hosted by the University Counseling Center. Thank you so much for joining us today. On Iowa, go Hawks!